On the evening of December 24, Maiduguri was tense but hopeful. It was the festive season. Markets were busy. Families were preparing for prayers and quiet reflection. At the Gamboru Market Mosque, worshippers arrived trusting that the house of God remained one of the last safe spaces in a region battered by insurgency. They did not know that death had already been planted inside. Minutes later, an explosion shattered the mosque, ripped through human flesh, and turned a sacred moment into horror. 5 worshippers were killed instantly. 32 others were left bleeding, screaming, and confused. Shoes, prayer mats, and personal belongings were scattered across the floor. The air smelt of dust, blood, and fear. Behind that explosion stood a man who would later confess not only to planting the bomb, but also to helping evacuate the victims. His name is Ibrahim Mohammed. Before we go deeper, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. This support helps us continue telling difficult stories that matter to Nigeria and beyond. Ibrahim Mohammed is from Michika local government area of Adamawa State, a place that has lived under the shadow of Boko Haram for more than a decade.
According to his confession, his journey into terrorism was not sudden. It followed a familiar pattern seen across the Northeast: exposure, indoctrination, recruitment, and deployment. He said he was contacted by 2 Boko Haram leaders known as Adamu and Abu Bakr. These men, according to him, were not foot soldiers, but commanders who coordinated attacks across Adamawa, Borno, and parts of the Mandara Mountains. They gave Ibrahim and another operative 2 improvised explosive devices, IEDs, and a clear mission: travel to Maiduguri and attack Izala mosques, including the one near Gamboru Market. This detail matters. Izala mosques are known for preaching against violent extremism. For Boko Haram factions, that makes them ideological enemies. In other words, this was not just terrorism, it was an attempt to silence a competing Islamic voice. Let us pause and ask a critical question. What happens when extremists begin killing fellow Muslims inside mosques? Is this still religion or pure criminality? Share your thoughts in the comment section. Ibrahim explained that entering Maiduguri was easy. The city hosts thousands of displaced persons, traders, and travelers daily. Blending in required no special effort. They dressed like ordinary worshippers. They spoke calmly. They avoided suspicion. They studied mosque routines. They observed security patrols. They watched prayer times carefully.
According to him, they chose to plant the bombs after Zuhu and Asar prayers, when mosques are usually empty. They entered pretending to pray. No one challenged them. Inside the mosque, one operative dug a hole in the middle of the prayer area. Ibrahim dug another spot by the side. The IEDs were carefully buried and timed. The plan was simple and deadly. Allow worshippers to gather for Maghrib prayers, then detonate. This raises an uncomfortable question for all of us. How many attackers pass through our communities unnoticed simply because they look ordinary? As Maghrib prayers began, the mosque filled up. Worshippers lined up shoulder to shoulder. The Imam led the first rakat. Then came the explosion. One of the attackers, now deceased, entered the Gamboru Market Mosque wearing a suicide vest. The blast was devastating. Bodies were flung across the hall. Walls shook. Screams replaced prayers. 5 people died instantly. 32 were injured. The mosque, a place meant for peace, became a scene of chaos. Ibrahim did not die. He ran toward the market area, disappearing into the confusion. What Ibrahim did next shocked investigators and Nigerians alike. He returned, not to attack again, but to pretend to help. He joined other civilians evacuating victims. He helped carry dead bodies. He assisted injured worshippers into emergency vehicles. Think about that. The same man who helped plant the bomb was now lifting the bodies of those he helped kill. Let us ask honestly, is this remorse, psychological detachment, or calculated deception? Can a man who does this ever truly repent? We want your opinion. Drop it in the comments.
During interrogation, Ibrahim revealed that suicide bombing had become a paid assignment. he claimed he received between 70,000 naira and 100,000 naira per mission. This confession exposes a harsh reality. Terrorism has become an economy. For some Nigerians, this highlights poverty and manipulation. For others, it confirms greed and moral bankruptcy. So here is a question for you. Does taking money to kill innocent people make the crime worse, or simply expose how cheaply human life is valued? Before we move on, please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you believe these conversations should not be silenced. After the Gamboru bombing, Ibrahim was not asked to surrender or hide permanently. He was sent on another mission, this time to Damaturu in Yobe State. His assignment was to conduct reconnaissance on Nigerian military positions and a local vigilante group known as Sakin Baka. The plan was to identify where they lived, where they operated, and where an IED could be planted to cause maximum damage. This reveals something critical. The Gamboru attack was part of a wider coordinated terror campaign, not an isolated incident.
In Damaturu, Ibrahim approached locals asking for a place to sleep. One person declined, another agreed, but his presence raised suspicion. Shortly after, members of the Sakin Baka vigilante group arrived in the area. Ibrahim and his host ran, abandoning their footwear. The vigilantes ordered them to return and pick their shoes. That simple act changed everything. They were followed, apprehended, and handed over to security forces. During interrogation, Ibrahim confessed, not only to his Damaturu mission, but also to his role in the Gamboru Market Mosque bombing. Let us pause again. If not for vigilant community members, how many more attacks would have happened? With Ibrahim Mohammed in custody, Nigeria faces a familiar but painful dilemma. Under Nigeria's Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act, terrorism-related offenses, including bombing, conspiracy, and aiding terrorism, carry penalties up to life imprisonment or death, depending on severity. Ibrahim allegedly committed terrorism, mass murder, conspiracy, and aiding terrorist operations. Legally, the law is clear, but Nigerians are uneasy. Why? Because recent judgments have shaken public confidence. Recently, Ansaro leader Mahmoud Mohammed Usman received 15 years after pleading guilty. Boko Haram commander Husseini Ismail was sentenced to 20 years despite involvement in multiple killings.
These judgments sparked outrage. Many Nigerians believed justice was compromised. So let us ask directly, should terrorists who plead guilty receive reduced sentences? Or should terrorism carry mandatory life imprisonment regardless of plea? One side argues that leniency encourages future attacks, reduced sentences insult victims, amnesty undermines deterrence. They believe Ibrahim should face the full wrath of the law, not rehabilitation, not stipends, not reintegration. To them, mercy without accountability is injustice. Others argue that confessions provide intelligence that saves lives. Not all operatives are ideological leaders. Rehabilitation can reduce future violence. They believe intelligence from suspects like Ibrahim helps dismantle terror networks. But the question remains, is rehabilitation justice or reward? Lost in these debates are the victims. 5 people are dead, 32 are injured, families are traumatized forever. Will they be compensated? Will medical bills be covered? Will the dead be honored? Or will the system focus only on the perpetrator? Can justice exist if victims are ignored? The story of Ibrahim Mohammed is not just about one man. It is about Nigerians' conscience. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths, how terrorism recruits, how communities stop attacks, how justice is delivered or diluted. This case will test Nigeria's legal system, its counter-terrorism policy, and its moral compass. Before we end, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. And turn on notifications so you don't miss our next deep analysis. And finally, tell us in the comments, should Ibrahim Mohammed face life imprisonment or rehabilitation? What does true justice look like in Nigeria's fight against terrorism? Your voice matters.